Christmas wouldn't be the same without a classic movie, but some of them should probably be cancelled. Festive films are supposed to bring laughter, fun and joy while getting us into a Christmassy mood. However, many have failed to stand the test of time, and not just because they just aren't very entertaining in the modern era. From racism to sexism, inappropriate moments and major flaws, some of these Christmas crackers have aged terribly over the years. Love Actually, White Christmas and even Home Alone 2 have parts that have not held up very well. Here is a look at some Christmas movies that have aged very badly. Love Actually. Where do we begin with Love Actually, as Terry's about 500 different plotlines that are all filled with their own issues. Richard Curtis' 2003 star-studded festive flick has been blasted on Twitter as critics label the romantic comedy as creepy, sexist, homophobic and fat-shaming. New Age critics have accused Love Actually writers of being offensive in a number of the classic film's storylines, particularly the scenarios featuring actresses Keira Knightley and Martine McCutcheon. One film whiz has said the film, which first shot to theaters over 18 years ago, was a nippy depiction of multiple mediocre men being vile to female characters and generally having their behavior rewarded. One of the most worrying is stalker Mark, Andrew Lincoln, who spends years longing for his best mate's girlfriend. He creepily zooms in on Juliet while filming the wedding video for his own sick pleasure, seemingly under the belief no one else will watch this tape. Only when she becomes his best mate's wife does he arrange a worrying secret declaration of love, silently unveiling a load of placards on her doorstep while his pal Peter is inside. Some of his wording is a bit iffy and one of the cards even has a photo of a dead woman's body. But the message of the film is this is the perfect way to declare your love as she cheats on her new husband and kisses him. There's also Hugh Grant's bumbling Prime Minister and his crush Natalie. The new staffer is subjected to some nasty fat jokes and is basically fired because she was harassed by the American president. It's presented as a good thing that Natalie is distributed elsewhere because she was subjected to a horrible situation. Even some of the stars of the film have slammed its portrayal of women. Lulu Popplewell, who played the daughter of Emma Thompson's character aka the Lobster in The School Nativity, blasted the movie as cheesy, st and sexist. I think it's aged badly. All the women in it are sort of passive objects, she confessed on podcast Almost Famous in October. I think that there was an article describing them as passive objects to be acquired. On rewatching it's not great. The movie has also come under scrutiny due to all the relationships, which range from platonic friendships to scandalous love triangles, only include heterosexual couples. As well as being criticized for its lack of LGBTQ+ storylines, others have pointed out that the cast is mostly white. Things could have been very different had 4 diverse storylines that were cut from the Christmas-themed film had been left in the theatrical release. Home Alone 2. The first Home Alone is bad enough, but it's a very enjoyable movie. An 8-year-old boy, played by Macaulay Culkin, is left to fend for himself and attacked by some thugs in his own home. We can forgive any sins because it's a great film, but then it happens all over again in the sequel. Kevin is forgotten for a second time and is separated from his family when he follows the wrong person. The kid somehow manages to get through all the airline security alone and even boards the wrong flight, despite not having the correct boarding pass. Kevin ends up on a plane going to New York instead of Florida because of the negligence of the airport staff and some writing that doesn't hold up. Oh, and don't forget Donald Trump bullied his way into having a cameo in the movie. When the film was released in 1992, Trump owned the Plaza Hotel in real life and, according to director Christopher Columbus, demanded to have a scene in exchange for use of his hotel for filming. Opening up on how Trump managed to photobomb his way into the movie, cinematographer Julio Macat explained the business mogul went to extreme lengths to get his full face in shot. We filmed in their lobby and he was around, and he had to be in the movie. He had to photobomb the shoot one day, and came walking in with his entourage, and wanted to walk through the shot, explained Macat. Of course we said yes because we're filming in his hotel. As he does the shot, he turns the looks to the camera, so you could really see his face. Trump's scene stayed in the movie, but a Canadian broadcaster caused controversy in 2019 by cutting it from their showing of the film. Trump himself responded to the scandal, jokingly suggesting that Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was behind the snub. "I guess Justin T doesn't much like my making him pay up on NATO or trade," he tweeted, before adding, "The movie will never be the same. Just kidding." Christmas with the Cranks, a family who decide to skip Christmas for a year because their daughter have left home. It's a premise that sounds quite modern, but things don't carry on in the same manner. Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis play the titular couple, who usually go all out with the decorations, gifts and entertainment on the big day. They realized they could completely boycott the holidays and invest the money on a Caribbean cruise, which actually makes a lot of sense. However, the Cranks are considered pariahs and shunned by their neighbors, led by Dan Aykroyd's character. A campaign is organized to force the pair to splash out on lavish decorations, and carolers sing on their lawn all day to force them into submission. Rather than having the Cranks stand up to their bullies and win, they eventually give in to the psychological pressure. The message the film seems to be giving to viewers is that it's pointless to stand up for what you believe in, and you don't have much festive spirit unless you waste all your money. The film has a shockingly low 5% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes and is not liked by critics or the public. Giving their scathing review, one critic said, "A mirthless movie as fresh as last year's fruitcake, Christmas with the Cranks is a coarse, garish comedy that promotes conformity. The Santa Claus starts with Father Christmas being killed, so we could just stop there." Toy salesman Scott Calvine, played by Tim Allen, startles jolly old Saint Nick while Hess climbing on the roof. Santa slips and falls to his death in horrifying scenes that will give kids nightmares, and that's just the first 15 minutes of the film. The rest of the movie is based on some rather complex legal wrangling that doesn't really feel very Christmassy. Scott puts on the big red suit and discovers he is legally obliged to become Santa and lie in the North Pole because of, you guessed it, a technicality known as the Santa Claus. As well as being a bad pun, it's also quite frightening that the title of Santa is passed down to the usurper who is responsible for killing him. If that wasn't bad enough, there is some creepy magic that makes you abandon your whole life to deliver toys until you die, and even contorts your body into a fat old man with a beard. This legally binding contract business got even creepier in the sequel when Scott discovers that the reason he is losing weight and feeling less jolly is because he needs a Mrs. Claus. Also, none of the elves seem to really care that their lifelong friend has died and been replaced by the man seemingly responsible. White Christmas is heralded as one of the ultimate classics, but it can't even been aired on TV today in its entirety. The 1954 American movie, starring Bing Crosby, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Ellen and Danny Kaye, features laughs, romance and big musical numbers. Featuring the songs of Irving Berlin, there is also a new version of the title song White Christmas, the world's best-selling single. The enormously popular movie was the biggest money-making film of 1954 by some distance and the highest-grossing musical of all time. White Christmas is a heartwarming tale about a bunch of friends adjusting to life after the Second World War. However, there is one scene that is certainly not appropriate for any movie. They perform a dance number, Abraham, about the nostalgia of minstrel shows, a racist form of entertainment which often used blackface. While that isn't the case in this film, it still celebrates the inappropriate shows with some vile jokes and is often cut out of TV broadcasts. Do you have a story to share? Email webfeatures@trinitymirror.com.